Mueller swings it out. Near side, blue. Touchdown, Texas.
The sound you heard yesterday from Hook 'em Horns fans was Texas coach Steve Sarkisian saying, "This game is ours and yours."
Yeah.
Tom, how good is number 3 now for number 2 in the polls, a high-priced former Ohio State Buckeye?
Well, number one, you can't let him get out of the pocket. That's for sure. And Quinn Ewers, I've never seen a more poised quarterback. And we saw the highlights there.
Yeah.
Under duress, that sidearm sling he threw it to his back. The flats were open all day. He was like an orchestra leader in a concert, man. He had that field. He had swag. I was incredibly impressed by Quinn Ewers and the entire team. But as we'll probably talk about more in this segment, it was Michigan had a lot to do with that as well. They basically failed to check any of the 12 or 14 boxes that I had written down before the game. Like, they got no check marks. Well, they got none when it was all said and done.
Tom, from your perch high above Michigan Stadium, when did you know for sure it wasn't going to be the Wolverines' day? The first drive. I mean, actually, Texas missed a field goal on that first drive, but just the inability for Michigan to create the quarterback pressures against Quinn Ewers, and then when Mason Graham would come on the line and the rotation of the D line, and they were able to run interior wise, Texas running the football in Michigan. Yeah. I knew it was going to be a doom and gloom day, and it was pretty early and often that this was going to be like maybe like the Florida State game of 1991. I go back into all these games that someone else took over the stadium, Syracuse 1998 with Donovan McNabb. But no, that's a very good football team. It is CFP Final Four title game worthy. We'll probably see them on January 20th or whenever that title game is, because they got it all cooking down there in Austin. Guys, let's hear what Sharon Moore said in his analysis right after this game.
It's a loss. You haven't had one of these in a long time, so you definitely feel it. Our kids feel it. They feel it more than anybody. So definitely feel bad for them and how they feel, but we know on all sides of the ball, all three phases, really, we got a lot to work on. We just got to get better at the fine details and can have penalties and turnovers. So, those are the things right now we got to keep to work on. You don't like losing. We didn't lose it all last year. We lost once, twice the year before. So for us, it's like you don't ever want to lose. So you're never thinking about the loss. But for them and for us, I just think about them. I think about how they feel. And what are we gonna do to get better? That's all we're worried about right now. Is we're gonna take everything we can on all three phases to get better in every little piece. And my message to them was, we gotta do it together.
Tom, you were there. Do you think Sharon was shocked by what he saw? Looked like most of his team had been suspended.
Yeah, well, it wasn't exactly smash football that he promised a couple weeks ago. At the presser, I was down there. But no, I think when you look at the, and you know how college football fans, they overreact, and so Davis Warren, he needs to go. Sharon Moore, we didn't pick the right guy. Wink Martindale, my God, he takes too many chances. It was a complete meltdown in the Michigan fan base, as it typically is in college football. But a lot of the stuff is fixable. You can't turn the ball over 3 times. Against a good football. You lose a turnover battle 3 times. You have to be able to run the football. I said they needed a minimum of $175 on the ground to win this football game. They got 80. That was the first question I asked Sharon. They got a lot of problems on that offensive line, at right tackle in particular. And Arkansas State is 2-0. Listen, watch out for the Sun Belt, baby. They better get their dollars back up quickly, because this season could go disastrous if they let that one slip away.
Darien, Michigan State had 3 turnovers, 3 Aiden Childs interceptions yesterday, -2 in takeaways. You don't usually see that with a winning effort, but I've heard projections of just 7 wins all the way to 11 for U of M.
What do you see with 8 home games and at least 3 or 4 that appear challenging?
Yeah, I see 7 and maybe 11. I mean, that's football at the end of the day, especially in this day and age. And I'm with Tom on the fact that all fan bases overreact. I read the same things about Michigan State's fan base, and I always tell everybody just relax. Just give it a second. Football is complicated at times, but it's also very simple. And Tom, you just stated it. You can't turn the ball over. You have to be able to run the ball. You have to be able to stop the run. No matter what. No matter what era of football it is, no matter what day and age it is, that is always going to be probably your top 3 things, and then you have to be able to flip the field in the punting game. Punt's the most important play in football. So those are really your 4 things. You can't do that. You're not going to be successful on the field. They could very well flip everything on its head next week and run for over 200. And then all of a sudden they not turn the ball over and you see a victory and all of a sudden you get some rhythm there. So I don't think it's necessarily a time to overreact. But I do think that it is good for folks to see, like when you're at the top, and that age-old phrase of you're either hunting or you're being the hunted. The Detroit Lions will start being the hunted this year. Everybody, from a relative standpoint, is putting their team together to beat you. Now, I know Texas is probably not running around saying we're doing something every single day to beat Michigan, but at the same time, they're like, hey, these are the national champions. We need to make sure that we beat them so we put ourselves in title contention.